Hello guys, this is Recaps Now here. Today, I'm going to explain a Japanese psychological short thriller film called Chess. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. In the introductory scene, we see the current world chess champion Akira Kato playing a game of chess against a virtual opponent, the computer Super Blue, at the special chess exhibition. We see Akira can carry out only 3 moves per second. The computer Super Blue can perform up to 200 million moves every second. As the game moves on, it looks like that Akira is destined to lose, and the chances of the opposite happening are almost zero. The interesting part was that if Akira lost, he would be the first player to be beaten by a computer in the game of chess. As the exciting match progresses, we see Akira is struggling for survival against Super Blue. In the end, he drops the king and accepts his defeat. The whole room is stunned by the happening, as they could not believe that the world's best chess player, who had been unbeaten till then, lost to a computer. Akira sits with a dejected expression and a fallen head, as he could not quite understand and process what had just happened. The host of the event makes fun of Akira, and the audience also laughs, and the press is seen taking pictures of a fallen hero who was a former grand champion. In his anger, Akira banged the chessboard and broke it into a half. The scene then shifts to 3 years later. We see Akira has stopped playing chess and nobody had seen him since the last defeat. In the next scene, we see a group of people who are homeless and sat on the side of the road on a cold winter morning. One of the men in the crowd was Akira. He had spent all his money on alcohol and gambling, and now he was penniless and lived on streets. A unique and fancy car stops by the road, and 2 men dressed in black emerge from the car. The men take Akira away by force and take him to a large mansion. He is greeted here by an old but wealthy man. The man informs him that he knew who Akira is, which surprises Akira, as he had changed his identity completely. On the other hand, when Akira asks the man who he was, he declines to answer, saying it was not that important. The man says that he just wanted to play a game of chess with Akira. The man then shows a chessboard that was on the table, and one which almost caused Akira to vomit. Akira manages himself and excuses himself, but the thing bothering him was the fact that he had started to hate the game of chess and felt sick at the name of it. We see that Akira looks away from the chessboard, as he could not bear to see it. The elderly man shares with Akira that he had lost a handsome amount of money by taking a risk and betting on the last game Akira played. The man then offers Akira to play a match with him for the compensation of the loss. The man suffered years ago, as Akira did not have a dime of money to survive. Akira is confused about the intention of the man, but he knew for himself that he did not want to strike a deal with the man. To escape the situation, he straightaway says to the man that he did not play chess any longer, and he did not want to be a millionaire's plaything. The man then picks up Akira's king and tells him that he had lost and given up even before they could play. The words of the man remind Akira of his last loss, and he feels enraged. He stops the man and tells him to move his pawn. After this, the man feels satisfied, as he was able to convince Akira. The man makes his first move, but Akira refuses to even look at the board or touch the pieces. Akira tells the man to move all of his pieces without even looking, as he felt confident that he will win the match. After this, we see the old man was wearing an earphone and talking to somebody during the game. Akira goes to the window, and there he saw a group of men dressed in white and black waiting downstairs and facing each other. The pattern followed by the men while standing was the same as that of the chessboard at that moment. As the old man kills a pawn in the game, the man standing downstairs at the place of that pawn is stabbed to death. Akira is utterly shocked and freezes at what he had just seen. He asks the old man if what he was doing was a joke or something like that. The man replies to Akira that the pawns are like soldiers only, so he should not be sad at the death of one. Akira goes downstairs and checks the dead man by himself, and discovers that the man lay on the ground while the other participants stood still and perfectly in their respective positions. Akira takes the knife out of the man's body and observes that the man was still breathing and alive. Surprisingly, the man is seen smiling even as he was on his deathbed, and asks Akira about his next move. After the man dies, the men around him leave the scene, and Akira is left standing with a knife and the dead body amidst the street. A woman sees him in the street with the dead body, and she makes out that he killed a man. Akira feels shaken and freaks out and moves backward, claiming it was not him. The scene then shifts, and in the next scene, Akira is seen visiting his former doctor Seiichi Tomoda at his office. The doctor is taken aback to see him after such a long time, many years to be specific. We learn that he and Akira's wife had been looking for Akira for the past 3 years. The movie then goes into a flashback, and we see that 3 years ago, after Akira lost the match against Super Blue, he felt devastated and had lost the will to live on. He started having bad dreams about chess pieces trying to kill him. Soon, these nightmares took the form of hallucinations, and his condition began to deteriorate, making his health even worse. Akira always drew comparisons between chess and his personal life, and he considered his wife to be his queen in life. As a result of his thought, when he lost the game, he left his queen, as he believed he did not deserve her anymore. Akira opens up to the doctor about the incident that took place with him earlier in the day, and says that he might need to consult a psychiatrist. The doctor, however, thought that Akira might have dreamt of the man being killed, but Akira firmly says that whatever he saw was real. The doctor advises him to return to his house and rest as his mind was still unstable. After that, a printer in the doctor's cabin automatically prints out a paper. Written on the paper were the lines, "What is your next move?" Akira understands that the game of chess that had started in the morning was still in progress. Akira shouts that he wanted his own pawn at the e3 position. Next, the doctor opens a book and finds that its pages had transformed into a chessboard. We see the printer print another page that says in the next move the old man's queen kills Akira's knight. The knight happened to be none other than Dr. Tomoda. He vomits blood, dies on the spot. Akira is shocked when he finds a picture of the doctor riding a horse indicating that he was Akira's knight. We then see that the cup from which the doctor was having coffee was also shaped like a chessboard. So Akira figures out that the coffee might have been poisoned. Here we see a nurse looking on at them through the door but does not try to save the doctor, and only comes in after the doctor dies and asks Akira what his next move is. Akira is extremely frightened by the happenings and runs outside. Shaking in fear, just then he meets a boy who was holding the picture with the current format of the chessboard. It is easily understandable that the boy was also part of the game. When he asks Akira the same question, to this, Akira responds that he wanted to move the king to e2. We see that the kid tells him that the king will be dead, thus making Akira run in the opposite direction. Akira gets a flash or vision of those who had died due to the game and hallucinates that chess pieces were trying to kill him. As he escapes, he comes to parking where the cars have been parked just like the chessboard. Not knowing this, he gets into the car that is supposed to be the bishop and tries to start the car. But the funny part is that the car moves only diagonally like a bishop in the game of chess. He gets out of that car and boards the car that was supposed to be the rook. But the car does not move as it was the opponent's turn to play. The rook from the opposite side of the car crashes into his car, killing his rook. After that, Akira goes to his old house and finds out that it was on sale. The rook, also known as the castle, was actually Akira's house in real life. Now, Akira understands that it was like live chess. He also understands that the queen was none other than his wife Kumi, and he also realizes that her life was in danger. He then returns to the house of the old man and says that he wanted to quit the game, and asks about his wife Kumi. But the old man asks Akira to accept the fact that he had been defeated, and that he should remove his king and end the game. This again reminded Akira of the time when he had lost out to Super Blue, and we see a determined Akira keeps on playing and asks the old man to move his king forward. The game continues for a long time and most of the pieces have been killed. At long last, Akira is shown only 2 steps away from winning the game, and the old man has no way to save his king. However, before Akira can play his turn, 2 suited men take him away. In the next scene, the old man and Akira are shown standing in a stadium with a life-size chessboard in the middle of the stadium. We find out that the chess pieces are people who would die just with a single wrong move. The old man says that their current situation was like an Arabian king, who played chess with his prisoners and killed them off instantly. Indirectly, the man compares him with that king. The old man says that chess was an emotionless game. because the participants sometimes needed to sacrifice their own pieces for the sake of a win. Akira needed to move his knight to checkmate for a win. But if he does that, the old man will kill his queen. Akira looks around and finds that the queen was his wife Kumi, who was tied and held at knife point. With tears in her eyes, she shakes her head asking Akira to save her. Now, Akira faces a dilemma, as he could either win the game or lose his wife forever. He then tries to move from his box to stop the man. But a sniper rifle fires close to his legs, warning him that moving will get him killed. The old man asks him for the last time if he wants to sacrifice the queen or accept his own defeat. The man further says that a real champion would think with his head and do what is needed to be done for a win in the game. But Akira tells them to save the queen without any doubt or hesitation. He states that his wife was more important to him than winning a game of chess. Everyone is stunned by the decision Akira took. He moves in front of his wife and spreads his hands, thus accepting his defeat. The opposing knight approaches him with a knife and stabs Akira. At last, Akira falls to the ground. However, after his death, the old man claps for him and applauds him in appreciation. At this moment, Kumi's hands are freed. She smiles broadly, delighted at what had just taken place. What was even more surprising was that the man who died in the first round, Dr. Tomoda, the nurse, and all the people whom Akira met during the game arrived at the stadium, clapping him. Stands up and is left surprised and confused as to why he was not feeling any kind of pain. It is revealed to us that the knife with which he was stabbed was a fake one. It is also revealed that the game was all a plan to bring Akira out of his depression and make him play chess again. Akira was in a deep depression after the loss against Super Blue. So Kumi, along with the doctor and the old man, devised the plan and organized the entire game as part of shock therapy for Akira. The old man was none other than the inventor of the Super Blue, and he felt embarrassed as his invention had caused a champion chess player to quit the game. Thus, to make up for his mistake, the old man organized and funded the game. It is revealed that the whole time Akira was actually playing against Super Blue, who was passing answers to every move to the old man via the earphone. The man then reveals that the computer could not process or comprehend the magnanimous, self-sacrificing move by Akira, due to which it malfunctioned, meaning that Akira has finally won a game of chess against Super Blue. In the ending scene, Akira and his wife Kumi share a hug, while everyone claps for them and applauds them. Thus, the movie ends. Thank you for watching.